Hello there. So we are back, and if you have imported images successfully into your Lightroom catalog, congratulations. That is fantastic. I did want to mention something that I forgot to mention last time. With these little menu items, you have a left panel, a right hand panel, and this, toolbar up above, and you have your film strip down below. And that is basically a similar interface to Photoshop where you have the left panel and the right panel. Here, if you want to open any of these, there are these little twirly arrows that you can open them with, but we'll only be working with the catalog in this lesson. So for these images, I had already added some stars and things to them, but I wanted to show you if you wanted to go ahead and add additional keywords, how to do that. Because with these, when you select images in the library module, you basically just click on them and they highlight. And just with selecting anything else in other programs, you can click on the first image you want to select and say you want to select all the images between the first image and say this entire column. You can shift click on the last image and it will select all of those. And you can tell they're selected because they are a lighter gray. Of course, there are several preferences that you can set up in Lightroom, if you wanted to have things different colors, but that's just some, details that you can learn on your own through the video tutorials online. So say for instance, for me, I'm a professional portrait photographer, and I may want, and say if somebody wants to see images of, all of the infants that I've, shot, or baby images, or images of babies. I can go through and actually put a keyword in baby so I can find that later. My workflow, however, is a little bit different. Since I shoot so many images, I go through and rate my images first with the star rating system. And that way I don't have to bother keywording images that I'm never going to use. But I will show you the star rating system in a minute. But since you will probably be dealing with fewer images than I have, who knows, maybe not, I'm just going to show you how I would go in and add particular keywords, to particular images. So all of these have infant, a baby in them, more or less. So I'm going to go in and select all of the ones that have the baby in them. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to go through in this video tutorial and do them all. I'm just going to show you how I actually do that, just to particular images. So first of all, you have to select the ones you want to add a keyword to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so all of these images have a baby in them. So if you'll notice over here on the right hand column, this is not shown. I'm going to actually close all these so you can see what this looks like without them all open. So if you're looking at this, because you've never opened any of these, you will go under keywording and just open that arrow right there. I have a lot of keyword suggestions just because it's populating the keywords from other keywords I have used in the past. So then it makes it easier for me to just click on them to add them. But here I'm going to add a comma. And for some reason it added, let me see, let me take these out that I don't need. I think I accidentally clicked on some earlier. There we go. And then I'm going to do comma and then add baby. And infant portrait. So if I go and search using the filter bar, which I will explain, and I search under baby, then all of the images that have a baby in them will show up, and then I can, choose whichever ones I want to show to my client. So that is very helpful. And then you can continue on with that process. Like, if you have the person's name, you can also add the person's name, the client's name. That's always very helpful. And then, you can put something like garden or whatever you need to enter to to make sure that you find them later. If you forgot a keyword that you wanted to add to all of the images, you can do Command A on a Mac or Control A on a PC to select all of the images. And I'm going to add here, this has got a previous keyword populated that it's entering. So anyway, I'm going to add lifestyle portrait to all of these. And hit the tab key just to make sure that it enters it. You can also enter it here in this blank to add keywords as well. Either way works. So I think that's, I'm also going to come down here and add 2012 to that as well. And I think that's all for now. But you get the idea. Basically, the more keywords you can add, the better. So, and then for these, you know, I might enter like mother and child portrait, family portrait when they're all together, which I've already added for all of them. So whatever, you know, will help you. Okay, in addition, when I was talking about the star rating system, you can also rate your images by stars, which is very helpful. And I use a 2-star rating system. I go through all the images and rate them 2 stars if those are the ones that I want to, that I'm considering to show my client, and I'm also going to edit. So then I can go from there. If I decide later that I don't want to use it, I'll click back to 1, meaning that I won't show them, but I was considering it, so it might be something I want to consider at a later time. Then I use 3 stars for for the best images I think that may be considered for my blog or my website. And most images that are going to be sent to be published are 4 stars. So you can develop your own system, but I'll just show you briefly how I do that. To deselect all of the images, I just click there on, you know, one image to make sure they're not all selected. So when you double click on an image, you will get this full size image, which is really nice, so you can actually see the detail while you're applying the stars. You can apply the stars here in this mode just by clicking here to add 2 stars. But when you're going through, like this is the grid mode basically, and you can see that it's a grid of images. But when you come here, you can click on it and you have different options. You can fit it into the viewfinder and zoom fill to fill screen, 1 to 1 and 1 to 4. Those are different viewing options that you have, but I always want to look at fit at this point. So to add a star, you can use the numbers like the number 1 is 1 star, the number 2 is 2 stars, the number 3 is 3 stars, etc. So it's a really quick way, and down here you will see the film strip. And what I do is I just use my right arrow key to flip through all of these and basically add the stars of the ones that are really good that I want to keep. And just by using this number, so 5 for number 5, there's a number 1. This would be a number 2, number 2. Some of these other ones, not so great. That one needs to be straightened. That's a number 5. And we'll go on from there. Out of focus. Here's number, I'll keyword this number 5. So you get the idea for that, which is very, very helpful as well to narrow down the images, because when I'm dealing with this many images, I'm trying to narrow the ones down that I want to edit. So ones that I want to delete, ones that are not so good, like this one, for example, you can also use flags. Like here you can actually use a flag if you want to go back and delete all the flagged ones later in a bulk, so you don't have to have those taking up any room on your hard drive, which is very nice. So in addition to the star rating system, you can also add color labels. So I don't know why you might want to use color labels. I use them, for example, when a client orders, several prints and they want 8 by 10s of some images, 11 by 14 of some others. So as you can see that I've applied a blue label here for some reason in the past. You can just click on that little icon right there and click none if you want to take that off. So say that I know that they want, maybe this one, I'll use red for all the 8 by 10s that they want, which is a very frequent practice of mine. And you can do this for yourself as well. And then maybe I will use yellow for 11 by 14 or whatever size. And I'll have a little legend that I write down beside me to keep that. So when I'm sorting these out to get ready to export as JPEGs to upload to my lab, then it's easier for me to sift through them because I want to isolate those to be able to export them. Okay, so this will conclude adding color labels, keywords, and flags to your images at this point. And I will discuss a little bit more a lot more about how to find your images using the filter bar in the next video. Before I go to that, however, I do want to mention one thing about this metadata column, which I suggest that you use as well to enter your copyright information. Here, metadata is information that is embedded in your image. Your camera will embed, if you have a nice digital camera, it will embed certain amounts of metadata, including the time and day it was taken, as well as what kind of camera and lens you used. And you can also include the date if your camera has that function. But you see here that there are things that you can add. This usually is blank here. So I added my copyright information. I did a copyrighted status and I added the creator of Wendy Cooper. So this will embed it into each of these images that are selected on the time of when I added it. I had all of these selected when I added this information, so it was added to all of them. And that's good for professional photographers. So if an image goes out there into Wonderland, say I send it to a graphic designer on a disc and later it gets filed away and they pull it back out and they want to use an image, they can actually look at the metadata of that image and contact me to see if they can use it because my name is embedded in that image, which is really nice. Since you may or may not be a professional photographer, it's not really something that you have to do, but you may want to enter a title or a caption because you can also use the filter bar to search your metadata as well as your keywords to find an image later. So I will stop this video here and then we will go on to using the filter bar to find your images.